Jesus.
I apologize, first of all. Sorry, go ahead.
Call the meeting of April 18th, 2022, building site subcommittee meeting. Start at 6:08. Item on the agenda, there's the chamber's report. We'd like to discuss the, basically, the small list of chamber.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. So just a couple items on the March change order summary from last month. We do have a back chart, which is a wash, obviously, to the bond dollars. Then we have three change orders. First one there for Cheyenne Elementary to supply and install electromagnetic door openers for the special needs student there. As you know, she's going to be going through grade by grade, and we're going to put those in for her. So the second one there, supply and install safety resistant glass, or the school guard glass, on the interior vestibule doors at Algonquin. The exterior vestibule doors has them, but the interior don't have them. So we wanted to put those in, obviously, in light of the whole Oxford thing, to tighten it in our safety here. So and then last but not least, we had to relocate a few fire alarm devices at Mohegan for the fire marshal after inspection. So they were in the wrong places, so we had to relocate them. So other than that, it's
I'm sorry.
no, go ahead.
So the glazing, which was done earlier in the year, was done last year, so this year, whatever.
Correct.
So this was just in the area that was missed, or they replaced these doors and then they had to get replaced?
No, actually, there was that office area was reconfigured quite a few
I
times.
remember that, yes.
Yeah, so that
That's
portion,
fine.
yep.
Okay, thank you, I was just curious.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this is something different. This is a bit.
Roseville last a normal.
Yes. Yep.
They did all the entire district wide last year.
Are all the interior doors at all the schools now safety glass?
Yes.
Exteriors, main entrances. Was there any other doors that you did into the buildings other than the main entrances?
The secure entrance and then all the interior.
Yes.
It's not the classroom.
Yeah, the classroom doors.
Yep.
But so as far as the doors on the outside of the building, there's no safety glass in any of those.
No.
Okay. So I guess.
Well, because when they come in, we reconfigure, so when they come in, they can't get in until they're safety glasses on those.
Right.
Interior.
Correct.
All the glass inside the secure entrance area has the safety glass.
So, and, you know, most
Oh,
probably
right, so we-
shootings, they probably always made main doors. You know, they chose to come through a side door or a door of the building. Have that safety glass.
Those, all the
You know
other
that-
entrances.
That'd be interesting to know if in our shootings around the country, they've always entered through main doors or the exits. Cost be exorbitant.
Unfortunately, the majority of the shootings that happen, the weapons are inside. They don't shoot their way in, or it's already inside.
Or waiting outside.
Which is why we focused on the interior corridors.
Doors.
After talking with Macomb Emergency Management, Homeland Security, that was their recommendation.
I don't really like all the recommendations.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah, one that I'm there for, but anyway, so not to belabor that point. Yeah, okay, that's pretty good, yeah. Did we do anything with the channeling, locking down, we talked about locking down the gunman,
Adding the in the classroom doors.
yeah, there's no way of locking them in the building somehow. That way does advanced phase 8 or something for our safety.
Yeah, we didn't get there. We talked about adding some doors in strategic locations to kind of cordon off or separate the building. We didn't, that was kind of a low priority in the first responders' eyes, Macomb County. Polk County Sheriff. Their main concern was spend your dollars at the action more where the kids are, and not really to compartmentalize the building. They didn't really see it was a need.
Well, we talked about it after the fact. Sliding, that our fire chief did now.
Your temporary barricade.
Yes, the one you like that you have to put down.
Yeah.
So we're still not looking at those because of the fire chief.
Fire marshal is not keen on those devices at all. State fire marshal.
Oh, the state fire.
State fire marshal.
I don't know, it's, you know, as much as I love our county sheriff, police officers out there, if something that forbid ever to happen in this district, I mean, we've been so aggressive towards being safety related. We wanted to go up and far and beyond what is there. And so much so that I think that whole community was supportive, we were supportive. Just some of our local elected officials weren't so supportive of what we wanted to do because it'd be so different and advanced than any other school around. They wanted to stay with that general framework that every school would have to. So, something right ever happened. For the record, not to oppose you, to show that this district went way above and beyond, so much so that other people, elected officials, were getting nervous about it. Believe it. But, well, I'm thank you.
Right, any other questions about the future or something?
No, there's no more commentary.
We have one more item on the agenda, to review is, CTE.
Hi, sir.
Straightforward. There are tables that hold. Are over 20 years old. Are elementary. They've got, I see that they're like, we're business out. OS responsible there is remanufacturing. Specifications. We have all well construction. We'll need to work to remanufacture those $1,000.
Well, the tables like desks, what computer tables are these in the labs and we still have the labs? You know, we have one-on-one, I know we do, but one-on-one to
These are the student computer tables in the CTE program.
Oh,
That whole place. What? Looks like, I'm looking at this place. These are usually desktop computers. There are high-end desktops that are running. And software. Any questions about that? Again, this will be, more. That will work for our second board meeting.
What's the proposed, warrant to state approved?
Right, if there are no other questions, I will set up the meeting at 6:16. Just 12 minutes.
Thank you.
Okay. Oh,
I'd like to call to order the Chippewa Valley Schools Board of Education for April 18th, 2022. Please stand for the pledge.
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome to our board meeting. Starting off tonight, I'd like to excuse Mr. George Sobal and Mr. Robert Boykovich from tonight's meeting. Moving on, I'd like to B, additions, deletions. We have none this evening. Item C, recognition, presentations. Mr. Roberts.
Thank you, Mr. Bednar. We do have a couple presentations, student presentations this evening, and we have some very impressive students from our district here this evening. So we have the first, you can throw in the first group. We're going to start with our Macomb County All Academic Team. So okay, we have this evening. This evening we have members of our representing Chippewa Valley Schools on the All Academic Team. Now, the All Academic Team is a joint recognition through the Macomb Intermediate School District. The Macomb area principals are involved in this, as is the Macomb Daily. And I don't know the number of years, but this is probably over 20 years that they've done this. And each year they recognize, using their metrics, some very impressive students, and they represent our district at the county. And these students are recognized at a dinner that's coming up later. I'm not quite sure when that is, but I think it's at Zaccaro's. And we're really proud of these students. So I'm going to have them come up here and introduce you to them. And we're going to start with students from Chippewa Valley High School. Maybe students, if you could come, maybe right here, like in a line right here. You're the All Academic Team, a line right here. Okay, don't mess that up. We're going to start with Joe Pelkey from Chippewa Valley High School. Blair from Chippewa Valley High School. Jeffers from Chippewa Valley High School. I apologize for not practicing this name. I hope I'll get it right. Jack Matzak from Chippewa Valley High School. Go to high school, Aiden Deacon. High School, Ashton Kushner. So these kids are identified on a combination of grade point average and SAT score. And so I'm sure these kids all have very impressive academic credentials. And so first, I also like to add that Joe Pelkey is also a National Merit Scholarship finalist, which is really, that's like. Did you hear him? You didn't hear yet? Yeah, okay. I'm sure you're gonna win. So anyways, a couple things for these students. I want to just with a couple of quick questions. Now, I have such great respect for all of you. School was important to me, but I probably did not study quite as hard as you did, and I'm sure there's a lot of work. Is there a lot of work in what you do? So you do study a lot. You're not going to sit here and say, "Oh no, I don't." It's all comes easy. So at night, typical amount of homework?
I'd say at least 3 hours.
Probably 2 hours.
Probably 2 to 3. probably chunk it all in one night, so actually a little more hours than anyone else here, but I got myself a few nights off, so close for like 5 hours straight. Like, I like that. Yeah, first like 0 to 4 hours. Yeah.
You have 0 hours sometimes? Like, how's that work?
I just give up.
See, they're normal people. That's what I did. I just had 0 to 0 hours. You go 0 to 4, that's good. So, all right, this is important too. Favorite subject?
Math.
Math.
Chemistry. Math. Physics.
You hear that? All math and science? Because you like to achieve or get to one specific answer, right? That's the way people like you are. I don't want to stereotype, that would be wrong. Yes, we are. Whereas in social studies, you're kind of like discussing ideas. And it's hard to put a value on an idea. As long as you can defend it, you can defend a lot of things, right? Okay, okay, for you math and science people, what's your most challenging subject? Oh, and don't dare say, oh, there are none for me. Just think of one. Let's start down here.
Probably writing. Probably English. History. Definitely English.
History.
Economics.
I think, okay, yeah, I didn't like that subject either. But I liked other things, so let's hear about each of your, like, you have college picked out, kind of what you want to do. You all do. I don't think you have to. I don't want you to feel pressure about that. Do you all kind of yes, not yes, yes? So what's your college and your like career? If you thought, and listen, I want please know this. What you looking at right now and what you may end up doing could be totally different. So I mean, you're going to tell us what you're really interested in the career, but your parents out there, don't hold them to it. If they decide they don't want to do it, say, well, remember that thing you said you were going to be a neurosurgeon? And now you want to play the guitar? That's okay too. We have a music teacher retiring. She thinks that's better than being a neurosurgeon. College and career aspirations.
Michigan State and chemical engineering.
Aero Astro Engineering, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT.
What's that topic called?
Aero Astro, so aerospace and astronautics. So mix between planes and rocket ships.
Very good. I like to mix up things like that too. So
Probably University of Michigan and cardiologist.
Florida State University, and I'm going into a field called forensic accounting, which is like dealing with fraud and criminal justice in the economic section.
yeah, I don't want to meet you later in life. So Florida State, why Florida?
Florida State is the top criminal justice and criminology college in the nation.
So what do you got? So who's buying that? He's going to Florida because it is the best program. Art's right.
So I'm going to University of Michigan Ann Arbor, and right now electrical engineering, but I'm indecisive, so that'll probably change a few times.
Michigan State Computer Science.
Very good. So when you think about your career as a student, what motivates you? And what keeps you going? Because it's hard work. You do it every day. Think about it by all the time. So what motivates you?
Well, I think I want to work to help people, and I think I'm going to need skills to be able to do that, and knowledge. So that's why I work.
Learning, like putting all the pieces of the puzzle together.
I think really just seeing myself have a successful future.
You always feel that way? You were in kindergarten? You say, I can write that letter better than you to the kids sitting next to you.
Going into criminal justice, I definitely feel the want to help people.
I honestly, like, just kind of came to me. Like, I really can't pin it down to one thing. Just kind of like doing it.
Just enjoy schoolwork.
Sit down, silver hours, get done.
Okay,
I just like building skills.
just building on skills. So a couple of things I want to point out for, to our students and to our audience. I heard it from a couple of people, and I really think it's true in what all of these kids will end up doing, is the idea of serving other people. Sometimes people kind of think about youth and think about them, sometimes it's like, why couldn't kids be like I was when I was a kid? You know, it's like, things were better back then. And if you look at statistics and data on kids, I think what they think about what they want to do with their life, it is so much beyond, I think, what we thought when I was their age. I mean, the importance of helping others came up here. And that really is, when you look at survey data, is what kids will tell you, is they want to do something, they want to make a difference. No one said, I want to make $1 zillion or anything like that, even though that could be a byproduct of what they do. They choose things because they serve others. So I just want to thank you for how you represent our school district as being so academic. But I also know that each of you give in other ways. It's not just about that. It's about being a complete person. And it's really a complete person that is going to best serve our society. So thank you, and let's hear a round of applause for you. I'm just going to pepper you with questions.
So do any of you know or have seen the Big Bang Theory show? Have any of you ever watched it? Just a couple of you? Do you guys relate to any of the characters?
Denise are probably watching South Park.
Yeah, okay, all right. So they're all brilliant in science and math, and they're all physicists. And I just wondered if you ever watched it, because it's quite humorous, but yeah, I just wondered. Anyway, you really make us proud, and these are my favorite nights at board meetings, is when students are here to be showcased. And I don't mean to act like you're objects, but that you're here to be recognized, and it's always the biggest thrill to be a board member on these kind of nights. So congratulations to all of you.
Any other questions? Want to put them on the spot? Someone want to put an equation up on the smart board? See who gets it first and give them a Jolly Rancher? No, we're good. I do want to say a few of these students I've interviewed at when I've gone to, I'm trying to interview teams of students when I go visit high schools, and they're extremely thoughtful, and we should all be very proud of them. So thank you to you. Okay, and then the most important thing I ever give out at any of these meetings, besides a retirement bell, is a Dairy Queen card. Something like that. And so I think we'll do some photos, right? Do some photos with our all academic team. So you know what? We'll take any board member who wants to be up here. We can do it. So students. We'll put you 6 in front.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
Good. We could just see. Our parents of these students could just raise your hands. I won't make you stand at me. That students like this, families who value school, and I know always encourage and motivate the children to do the best they can, whatever they do. So, thank you to our parents who are here this evening for your work, because you are so important. We're going to move on, and we're going to have
Mr. Skelsey, our wrestling coach. Dakota High School. We want to honor some wrestlers from Dakota High School who had really a wonderful season. It's a strong program there, and I think a lot is because of Mr. Skelsey, who's standing right here to my right. And so we're going to recognize some of those students and some of their achievements this year. So do you want to?
All right, like I said, my name is Ed Skelsey. I'm the wrestling coach here at Dakota. And today we're going to honor 7 of our all-state wrestlers. We had an 8th. He's actually up north right now, so he's unable to make it. But first up, Caleb Wien. I want to come up here real quick. Caleb was our only state champion this year of the 112-pound weight class, and he was actually the only wrestler in all of Division I to remain undefeated the entire season, which means nobody was able to beat him or best him. And it was very dominant all year long. Next up, we have freshman Uzziah Wilson. Uzziah took second in the state in the 103-pound weight class. Highest placing freshman that we've ever had, and only had 1 loss on the season, a very dominant season. He also set some school records this year for us, some very prestigious school records that I don't think will ever be broken. Very successful season here. And then next we have Fritz Mueller. Well, Fritz here is pretty unique. Typically in wrestling, when you're all state, you've been wrestling since you're really little. And so most of our all-staters have come through the club. But Fritz here, he started wrestling as a sophomore, which typically, I mean, since I've been the coach, we haven't had anybody come out as a sophomore and be able to earn all state honors. But Fritz here, state finalist. When people from other schools, we tell them about Fritz, they really don't believe us that he's only started 3 years ago. Extremely talented in the 125-pound weight class. And then next we have Drew Astorga. Drew took 5th place in the 119-pound weight class. Very successful year. And he was one of the wrestlers. He had his season taken away last year from COVID, some contact tracing things. So he was able to make most of his opportunity here. Next, we have Orion Wilson. Ryan took 6th in the state at the 112-pound weight class, which is his 3rd time placing at the state tournament. He's only a junior. He was actually academic all-state as well. He was our first underclassman to earn academic all-state honors, which is very difficult to do in wrestling. A little unique story back during Thanksgiving break, Ryan was in a pretty serious car accident, and a lot of the doctors that his parents talked to and he talked to said that returning to wrestling this season was kind of out of the question, and maybe in the future, some of them even questioned whether or not he was going to be able to, do anything in terms of athletics. But he's able to persevere through all of it and got onto the podium for the 3rd time in his career. Very outstanding. And then next we have Aiden Kreitzer. Aiden took 7th in the state, 171-pound weight class. He as well, junior academic all-state. Like I said, it's very difficult. This is the first year that they're allowing underclassmen to be academic all-state. In order to get it, you have to have a very high GPA and be on the podium at the end of the year. So it's very difficult to do. And then we also have Anthony Coleman. So Anthony Coleman here, 8th place, 215-pound weight class. He started wrestling as a freshman, so it's his 3rd year wrestling as a junior. He was also academic all-state, and he actually set the single season sack record during the football season this year as well. So he's had a lot of success in multiple sports. These are 7 all-staters that we have here tonight.
Just for the guests that are here, you understand that wrestling is a family sport. We have Mr. Skelsey, who's our head coach, and we have Mr. Skelsey in the back, who's his dad, and he helps with wrestling. Skelsey's all wrestle, right? Don't they? They all do. Okay. And I have a few questions for wrestlers, and I want you to know that I feel intimidated this evening between the first group of students and then now this group of students, and I just look at them and think, oh yeah, and I just think I could look at one of them the wrong way and they'd probably tie me into a pretzel in about 10 seconds. So listen, anything I say, just roll with it, okay? I'm not going to challenge you or anything like that, so I would never do that. I've said this many times, not many times, a few times in board meetings when it's come up. I did not do this sport. I played basketball in high school and things like that. And in college, though, I had friends that were wrestlers. And they just amazed me with their level of dedication and the sacrifices they made to play the sport or to wrestle. So, and I'm sure you make a lot of sacrifices yourself, making weight. Is that hard, making weight? That's hard. So like, what do you do? What's your system for making weight? Let's just say you go in. Do you ever get on a scale and they say you're a little over and say you got to do something? You do that, right? So then what do? Like, wait a minute. When do you go on the scale?
Most of the time it's like the day before a tournament.
Oh, so you're weighed the day before the tournament. So if you're underweight, you can do what you want over the next 24 hours, right? Is that correct? You could just go home and eat steaks. So you could gain 10 pounds and you'd be okay. So what if you're a half a pound over? What are you going to do? No, you have to, on that day, a day before.
On the day of the weigh-in, like at the actual weigh-in, you have to make weight, but you can check the weight before and then like cut the weight before.
Okay, so how do you cut weight?
Don't eat, don't drink, you just throw on a bunch of layers and run, basically.
Anyone have a different method? That's it? That's all you do? Oh, you go in the sauna? I was sitting in the sauna for hours, okay. Well, now I could do that part, but that would not be about cutting weight or anything like that. So I know this is a grueling sport. How'd you get started? Sorry to hear that, but you've done well. So how much older is your brother?
3 years.
Have you surpassed him in achievement?
Oh, yeah.
Your brother, hey, is your brother here?
No.
Okay. How'd you get started?
I kind of started with my brother also. And my dad,
Dad wrestle too.
Yeah.
Something like your dad's Hulk Hogan or something like that.
He thinks he is, all right. How'd you get started?
My friend Tim directed me into it, but
And how old were you when you were drug into this?
I was.
Are you the 10th grader who just started? Who's that?
Well, sophomore year I started.
I want to hear this story, how you started wrestling then.
Well, I played soccer all my life, travel soccer, and I wanted a sport to play. So my mom said, you need to play a sport. So, or else you're getting a job. So,
We don't want to work. Don't want to work. So if I wrestled my whole life, I could skip doing what I do now then, right?
it's like a full-time job. You are the whole day. It's literally a lifestyle.
You call that fun?
It is fun when you have your teammates there to support you. Yeah, definitely.
How'd you start?
My dad's a coach, so I've been doing it my whole life.
What's that? Oh, my whole life, like I literally, I could really. So you wrestled before you rolled on the floor or what?
Probably. I started when I was really young, probably like 4 or 5 years old. And I mean, there's not really any other sport I could do. I'm too short to play basketball, too small to play football. That's about the only thing I can do.
In kindergarten, my dad asked me and my cousin if we wanted to wrestle, and at that age, we thought WWE. So we started just carried since then.
So you're banging each other's heads into the pylons.
Yeah.
My freshman year, I had a few buddies come up to me who wrestled before, and they told me to try it out. So I decided to try it out here.
Very good. Yeah, you are here in a big way. So what when you wrestle? Wait, are you guys brothers? Who's brothers? Where's the parents there? Are you parents? What's it like with growing up with those? I mean, raising those two. Did they like wrestle a lot at home? They still wrestle a lot at home, huh? They egg each other on. Well, that's good. And I won't ask who wins because you're both. Who's ever older, probably. So seriously now, what skills, and this could be for anyone, you don't all have to answer it, but you can if you want. What skills do you learn in wrestling that you think carry over to other things you do?
An appreciation for food.
Okay, great.
Hardworking, having a hardworking ethic.
It's your work ethic. Any other ideas? All right, so you're a state champ. So, wait, state champ, that means you're first. You're number one. You didn't lose a match all year. All right, let me ask you something. Did you beat the guy from Catholic Central?
I actually didn't verse one.
Oh, because they lost all before they got to you?
No. So
How does that work?
So usually there's like a duel between us and Detroit County Central, but this year there wasn't. So I think that's.
But in the state tournament, he must have lost a long way, right? Because you never met him in a match, right?
He's on the other side of the bracket.
And he didn't, he got knocked out somewhere along the way. Okay. So just talk a little bit about your final match. What was that like? Was it close?
Yeah, it was really close.
So kind of describe that, like you're wrestling really close. And so what's your strategy when you're wrestling? Talk about the strategy of the person you beat for the state championship. What did you do? Nothing, you just went in there and tried to.
Well, I kind of just wrestled like how I usually wrestle. And I knew like I couldn't do anything stupid. Last year, I did something stupid and I lost in the finals. So this year, I didn't want to do that.
So did you win this year on points?
Yeah,
What was the points?
3-1.
Okay, so that's not a lot of points, is it? So like, what do? You just kind of square off with this guy all the time and kind of like move around and slap each other with your arms, or once in a while you go for their kneecaps? Okay, but it worked.
Yeah.
Oh, congratulations. Anything else, any skills that kind of carry over into anything else besides appreciation for food? Because I have that skill without being a wrestler. That's an easy skill to have. I mean, some of you were all academic too, right? Who's all academic? You're all academic. So did you, okay, so we had the all academic team up here. You guys wrestled. Were you all three all academic? Okay, so you wrestle after school. So how much homework do you do a night then when you get home? 0 to like
2 hours.
So after wrestling, you go home and you do homework for 2 hours.
Yeah, I'll usually go to practice, go to the gym, and then do homework.
What's the gym mean? What are you doing there?
Working out, just waiting.
Okay. What about you? Well, you're all academic and you don't do any.
If I have to, I try to get around it.
Congratulations.
Usually have about an hour.
So I think it's quite a feat that by the time you go to school all day, get done, go to practice, and then work out, that you have time for homework, and do that homework. So last off, do you have role models in wrestling? Who are your role models in wrestling? He's telling you who your role model is. You probably didn't realize you had that role. No, you don't have a role model in wrestling? There's no role. You're what? Your coach, your role model. The coaches are role models. Isn't it wonderful? That's great. I'm not surprised to hear that. So who's a senior? Senior? Are you, what grade are you? You're junior? That's right, you're the freshman. And what place did you get in the state? How do you manage to do that? Second in the state as a freshman, like, are you wrestling like seniors too, juniors?
Not really, I'm in the lightest weight class, so it's all.
What weight class are you? What do you think you weigh right now? Like 133?
Around 130.
Wow.
What do you look like when you weigh 133? I know you look ripped. It's like some bones with muscles on it, then that's all it is, right? So what was it like for you getting, you got second place in the state, right? Okay, so what was that like wrestling? I mean, how they could beat you, that family?
No, I lost in overtime, so it's
What was the score?
4-2.
4-2. Okay, so you did a little bit more movement, a little bit more slapping around and neat things than this guy did. Yes, you got 4-2. All right, who else is senior? Senior, what are you going to do next year?
Thinking about going to trades and eating and clothing.
Good occupation. Any other seniors got plans? You're not seniors, not senior. Wait, just your senior, no one else senior. Wait, where's coach? You got all these guys back next year. Did you realize that? You're gonna have a good team. So anyways, thank you for what you do. Thank you for representing our school, our schools, because I know coaches have high standards for you and how you behave and how you present yourself. And that's really important to us, that when you go out on that mat, you're not only representing, Dakota High School, you're representing Chippewa Valley School. So thank you very much. Let's hear it for these students. Where is the coaching? Who are here from the coaching staff? Good, you. Let's hear it for these guys. Dan? Go sit in a sauna for 6 hours.
Right, any thoughts, comments from board members?
Sharing. Good. All right, we're gonna do a picture. So we could have our wrestlers come on over here, board members, we're gonna be with wrestlers.
They may want you up there. Sure.
We'll take a little pause right now for someone who doesn't want to stay for the rest of the board meeting. It's a great thing. Good night. Yeah. You can try that.
Okay, so move along, Mr. Robert, that's the presentation slide. All right, move on to item D, general consent agenda. I have a motion, please. Moved by Mr. Price, supported by Mr. Gill. Yeah, items on the consent agenda that I'd like to move for the discussion and questions. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. I have a number of here this evening.
We do, and first up, we have Mr. Demarest, who is with us this evening. Whereas Adam Demarest has served the Chippewa Valley School District faithfully and diligently for a period of 22 years as a teacher and athletic director. Whereas Adam Demarest, through his leadership, has had a positive impact on staff, students, and the community. Whereas Adam Demarest, a conscientious, loyal, hardworking employee, has elected to retire. And whereas Adam Demarest will be missed by all his school colleagues. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Chippewa Valley School District, not only on their behalf, but also that of the Superintendent of Schools and the administration, extend their thanks and appreciation for a job well done, as well as best wishes for the future. Be it further resolved that this resolution, having been adopted by the Board of Education of the Chippewa Valley School District on the 18th day of April 2022, be made a permanent part of the records of the school district, and a copy sent to Adam Demarest as an expression of our appreciation.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Kevin Koskis. I'm the principal at Dakota High School, and I just wanted to say a couple things about Mr. Demarest. Adam is a person of tremendous character, integrity, and principles. He has been an outstanding leader for our athletic department during his tenure as athletic director, an outstanding teacher while in the classroom, an outstanding coach on basketball courts, tennis courts, and everywhere. He's always had exceptionally high expectation for himself and others, but what has made him such a tremendous leader is that not only does he set those expectations, but he follows through and provides support for all those that he is leading in order to help them achieve outstanding things. He's the highest ethical and professional standards of anyone I've ever met or worked with, always putting student in front of athlete. When we talk about student athletes, academics and academic success, it's always been at the first, at the forefront for all of our athletes. It's what happens in the classroom that Adam has always emphasized and always made the top goal for all of our athletic programs. He is loyal, trustworthy. His energy, enthusiasm, positive attitude, and kindness are unmatched. He's a team player. Every time you interact with Adam, the first thing he asks is, what do you need? He's always offering a helping hand. He's always trying to lift others up. His positivity is infectious. He's always wanted the very, very best for Dakota's students and our athletes. He's one of the hardest workers I've ever had the opportunity to call a colleague. And all of his contributions are deeply, deeply appreciated. I don't know that Adam knows or will ever know the impact that he's had on our school, on our students, on our staff, on our athletic department. And for all of that, I am extremely grateful and I'm proud to have had the opportunity to work with you. And I wish you all the best on the next chapter that will be primarily written in Sooner Country, if I'm not mistaken. So Adam, congratulations.
So, Mr. Koskis, in typical fashion, covers things very well. Very detailed. And I would just like to highlight a few of the things that he said, because those are things that I've noticed too. Adam cares about everyone, every single one, every person. In his job as an athletic director, there's not an echelon of sports and what's important, what's less important to Adam. If the kid is out there competing, that is the most important thing that's going on. He supports tennis and golf to the same level. He supports football, kind of the bigger the sports that get more attention. He cares about kids deeply. He cares about other people's kids. He cares about your kids if you have kids in our school district. I don't. I have one child and he's 30 now, and he cares about my daughter. He will ask how she is doing and things like that. And I think for someone who works with other people in the world we work, that kind of is nice. That is nice. I think as a parent, that someone would ask you how your children are doing, even though their children aren't even near this person, they want to know. So, and I just know that that's the kind of interactions Adam has with everyone he encounters. So, thank you for 22 years of service. And in here in your gift bag, we have the resolution, which Board Member Pye read, framed, and we also have a retirement bell. So congratulations to you and thank you for your years of service to Chippewa Valley School. So. You'd like to say a few words, and I knew saying a few words to add is really not the appropriate term I should use. You say as many words as you want, but. Sure.
Well, the first thing I'd like to do is I'd like to thank the board. I'd like to thank you back in August when I was originally brought out as a teacher of head basketball coach at Dakota High School. I'll tell you, it has changed my life. Being here for 22 years, I've grown up here. I feel very comfortable with the community that we have, the administration we have, the students and staff. Board of Ed, I can't tell you how much it has made a difference to me, the trust and faith you guys have put in me as a teacher, a coach, and finally as athletic director at Dakota High School. And as many of you probably already know, I'm very prideful of our district, our high school. I think we've done many great things. We do it with a lot less than what other people have. And because of that, the kids in our community, the parents in our community, and our community itself will always thrive. I love hearing the stories about kids that have graduated several years ago or even last year and hearing how successful they are. And I know sometimes we may be at different odds with community members and stuff, and they may come in here and express their differences about things. But board, understand that you guys are making good decisions. You're making decisions that impact not just our community, but our staff and our teachers and our kids. Tonight, I heard one of the board members say something about this is the best day to see the kids recognized. I will tell you, it takes a lot of work to get sports programs running and stuff, and it is so nice to be able to come in and see them recognized. You guys do a great job of doing that, and I know they went home, the parents went home, the community went home, and they went home with a sense of recognition. They went home with a sense of pride, and that's what they need. You asked the question about motivating, Mr. Roberts. That's what motivates those kids. They're being reassured that what they're doing makes a difference too, and it does. And again, I do want to personally thank Mr. Koskis for coming up here, and Mr. Sibley, who's in the back, that basically was my mentor getting into administration. They make a difference. They made somebody, for me, who was a teacher and a coach, into what I consider a good administrator. Still working on trying to be great, but good. And I thank you guys again. Thank you for everything you've done for me. Thank you for what you've done for my daughters, my twin daughters here that are seniors in high school. I know the last 4 years having them at the high school has been the best 4 years of my life.
Oh, I can't believe that. I don't think you're too young, which I originally thought, but I remember when your daughters were born, I was gonna ask you how old they are. Oh my gosh, that is crazy.
Yeah, they're 17 now.
Two beautiful girls. These are your youngest, or no? Yeah, that's what I thought. So, and somebody said you're going to Scooter Country?
Sooner.
Sooner. Oh, and what? Are they going to Oklahoma?
Yeah, they're going to school down in Oklahoma.
Okay.
I own a house down there with my wife, and that's where I grew up. So.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, congratulations. I'm really happy. We will miss you. I'm happy for you.
Congratulations, Sam. Thank you so much. Thanks so much, Adam, for all your work in the district, and if your kind comments here, are much appreciated by the board. It just seems like yesterday, 20 years ago, when we were bouncing off each other at a basketball court, I should say 20 years, 50 pounds, ago. So I'm so happy to see that you made it, your journey, and that you're going on to another and bright one with your children. So good luck to you. Thank you.
Next up, we have Linda Smith. Whereas Linda Smith has served the Chippewa Valley School District faithfully and diligently for a period of 24 years as teacher. Whereas Linda Smith, through her leadership, has had a positive impact on the staff, students, and the community. Whereas Linda Smith, a conscientious, loyal, hardworking employee, has elected to retire. And whereas Linda Smith will be missed by all her school colleagues. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Chippewa Valley School District, not only on their behalf, but also that of the superintendent of schools and the administration, extend their thanks and appreciation for a job well done, as well as best wishes for the future. Be it further resolved that this resolution, having been adopted by the Board of Education of the Chippewa Valley School District on the 18th day of April 2022, be made a permanent part of the records of the school district and a copy sent to Linda Smith as an expression of our appreciation.
You're a darn.
Now they're all wondering if that's still on.
Yeah.
My name is Frank Belmo. I'm principal of Fox Elementary, so thanks for having me speak for you tonight, Linda. It's hard to put it all into words, when somebody retires, especially when somebody has done as much as you. Little did I know that when Linda Smith transferred to Fox, so too our music program, we transformed into something new and great. Over the years, Ms. Smith has given us countless hours to her students, both in and out of school. The students at Fox truly have a wonderful experience in the music program. She provides an opportunity for students to develop a love for music. On a daily basis, students are given a hands-on experience, tons of instruments. It's amazing to hear the xylophone, steel drums. We won't talk about the recordings because those are not my favorite thing to do. But ukuleles that you've written grants for, keyboards, I mean, the instruments, you name it, those kids go in there and play it. And that's the way a music program should be. I mean, it's not so we can just teach, give them information, but it's for them to develop, give them an opportunity to love music. They may not love it when they leave, but she's given them every opportunity to love music. And that's a program I want my own kids in. And to know that our Fox kids have had that since you've been at Fox is the greatest gift for our kids. No matter who the student is, Miss Smith will find their hidden strengths and gifts. I won't forget how she has allowed some of our most struggling students to shine in her class. Some of you may even have seen the 5th grade musicals she's done over the years, and they look like high school musicals. They're that good. I mean, she's taking kids who can't read and are struggling academically, and they will memorize their lines for an hour. I mean, it's truly remarkable. Each year, the programs are better than the other. Whether it was before or after school piano that she does with the kids for free, it's always evident where her heart is. It's always with the community of Fox and the students. For her students, their families, and her colleagues, she would do anything. And sometimes you'd have to say, Miss Smith, you have too much time right now. Just, take it easy, take a step back. Whether she's incorporating other subjects that they're teaching, other cultures that the kids are a part of, providing experiences that are second to none. Simply put, she is a given. She's given so much to our Fox community. She's given our students a memorable experience, and for some, she has unlocked a hidden gift and talent. We look forward to hearing about the new chapter that you're going to make and now write. We don't dwell on the fact that this chapter is coming to a close. Instead, we celebrate the opportunity to have made those chapters with you and those memories that will last forever. As a friend and colleague, the Fox staff and I wish you nothing but the best. Enjoy your retirement. You definitely deserve it.
You're an off-season wrestler. I know when you're in season, Anyways, I want to say that Linda was born to do what she does. She was just such a natural elementary music teacher. To be honest with you, walking into her room, parts of it I loved and parts of it I didn't. I loved seeing what the kids do. And Mr. Fellow mentioned some of those things. My favorite was the ukulele. My problem with walking into Linda's room is Linda would expect me to participate. I can't sing. I have no rhythm when it comes to music. And the stares I got from little kids, even off-key kindergartners, was really hurtful. I should not be singing. But really, honestly, Linda loved every minute of what she did, and it showed. So congratulations on retirement. And I can't imagine you winding down from what you did every day. I don't think you would wind down that much in retirement. Whatever it is you're going to do, I'm sure it'll be high energy. So if I end up at Kroger and you're bagging groceries, I'll be out of there like that. Singing bagger. Anyways, Linda, we haven't heard the resolution which was read by Board Member Hyden. We also have a retirement bell. Thank you very much for your years of service.
My speech won't be as eloquent. I want to thank God for this job, because I know that's where I got it. I thank God for all of you, and Frank, and Dave, and my family, and my children, and Costco's. I finally know what you look like. I send you emails all the time. Homebound students, it's nice to meet you.
You're a homebound teacher anyway.
I love them. I can honestly say that I love my students. I love them so very much, from the kindergarten students to my homebound students. I genuinely love them. And it's that love that has kept me going through everything. And then I had an incredible love my granddaughter, who was born 3 years ago in June. And I'll never forget, just before she was born, I was asking 2 of my 5th grade students, they would come in and give up their lunch every day so I could teach them how to conduct the kindergarten completion ceremony and the 5th grade completion ceremony should my daughter give birth on the day of the completion ceremony. And guess what? Those 2 little girls got to do it because my granddaughter was born on that morning. And those 2 5th graders, remember Beth, they got to get up there and they conducted that whole kindergarten completion ceremony. That was fantastic for those kids. So anyways, I thank you all so very much from the bottom of my heart for everything you've done for me and for my family. And I will miss you all very, very much. And God bless you, Frank. You've done so much, and Heather and all the laughs. Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Johnson, for the laughs this year. So thank you all very, very, very much.
Next up, we have Deanna Skelsey. Whereas Deanna Skelsey has served the Chippewa Valley School District faithfully and diligently for a period of 20 years as a teacher. Whereas Deanna Skelsey, through her leadership, has had a positive impact on the staff, students, and the community. Whereas Deanna Skelsey, a conscientious, loyal, hardworking employee, has elected to retire. And whereas Deanna Skelsey will be missed by all her school colleagues. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Chippewa Valley School District, not only on their behalf, but also that of the Superintendent of Schools and the administration, extend their thanks and appreciation for a job well done, as well as best wishes for the future. Be it further resolved that this resolution, having been adopted by the Board of Education of the Chippewa Valley School District on the 18th day of April 2022, be made a permanent part of the records of the school district, and a copy sent to Deanna Skelsey as an expression of our appreciation.
Good evening, everyone. Sarah Simon, principal at Shawnee, and I just want to say a few words about Deanna. And I want to share with you just a little bit about her and her life, just so you can get to know the wonderful person that Deanna is a little bit tonight. So Deanna received her bachelor's degree in 1990 from the University of Detroit with a major in physical education and a minor in health. After graduating, Deanna worked as a substitute teacher in various districts, including doing some long-term positions. She was hired as an elementary physical education teacher, first in Hazel Park schools, and then a few years later, taught elementary PE part-time in Oak Parks, or Royal Oak schools, which is where Deanna attended schools growing up. During this time, she also went back to school to pursue her master's degree in physical education and adaptive PE from Wayne State University. Deanna and her husband, Mark, who's the science specialist teacher at Fox Elementary, started their family during this time as well. They have twin daughters, Allison and Caitlin, and a son, Shane, who's here tonight. Deanna ended up taking off 5 years to raise their young family, but did work a few summers as a credit recovery teacher for Chippewa Valley Schools during that time. Then she returned to teaching full-time in 2002 when Shawnee opened, and she was hired as the PE teacher at Shawnee, and she's remained at Shawnee in the gym ever since for these past 20 years. While at Shawnee, Deanna has done many things to help our school and community to remain active and healthy. Deanna has organized our field day and challenge day every year, which is one of the events that our students look forward to every year. Deanna sponsored and led our Shawnee Striders Run Club, as well as our Jump Rope Club for many years to get students involved in physical activity outside of the classroom. As part of the Jump Rope Club, Deanna was able to get our students 4 minutes of fame, as she says, by taking 38 of our students to perform at a pregame show for a Pistons basketball game. She has also organized and sponsored the 5K Fun Run, which has benefited many different charities over the course of the years that it's run. Deanna has worked in partnership with the American Heart Association and brought the Kids Heart Challenge to Shawnee each year. And over the years that we've run it, it has raised over $88,000 for the American Heart Association. Thank you, Deanna, for that. One of the things that Deanna is most proud of is being able to bring new challenging activities to the kids. Some of the things that she has enjoyed about teaching are helping students to learn about their bodies, making fitness fun, and the importance of a healthy, active lifestyle, as well as introducing new skills that they haven't tried, like tumbling, ultimate frisbee, and cup stacking, to name a few. Deanna is involved in many outside organizations to continue further her own learning and growing as a professional. She has been a part of Shape Michigan Association for many years, which included time as the Vice President of Physical Education, or the VP of PE, for this association. She has been a planner and a presenter for many different events to help with the development of other physical education educators throughout the state. Deanna also enjoyed working with our physical education teachers in our own district. They're a very cohesive group, and she liked the ability to be able to bounce ideas off of one another and to support one another. Deanna feels blessed to have the support, space, equipment, and the grounds that she has experienced in being at Shawnee for the past 20 years, which has allowed her to provide the vast array of activities for the students. She is going to miss working with the students, teaching them new things, and introducing them to fun games and activities. She enjoyed having the ability to be goofy and spontaneous with the kids, and loved how a hug from a student or a picture that they drew that was left on her desk could just make her day. In retirement, Deanna plans to continue working in the local running and race scene through continuing to operate her small business, which is Fast Dog Timing and Race Management. She also would like to pursue further roles in the endurance sports world, such as Ironman events, which could allow her the opportunity to both work and travel. These kinds of opportunities allow her to still keep in contact with families and students, which is something she also looks forward to. She also plans to do lots of traveling during her retirement. Her first trip will be a 25-day trip to Hawaii this summer. She also started a new interest of gardening with her son, Shane, and she wants to continue to pursue that hobby as well. Deanna, we will miss you. We are so proud of the career that you have had, the hundreds of students that you have impacted over the years. I admire your passion for health and an active lifestyle and instilling that in our youth. We wish you all the best as you begin your well-deserved adventures during retirement. Congratulations and well done.
I did not realize that, Deanna. You've been the only PE teacher ever at Shawnee, and you're gonna leave? You're just gonna leave the kids like that? I hope so. The thing that people probably don't understand about being a PE teacher is the work. It is very physical. I know you're at one. I just went in for half a day and sub for some PE teacher and crawl out of there. But I'm sure you're in much better shape than I am. But it is incredible work, and the ability that you have to impact kids because you see them when they come to you as kindergartners and then become fifth graders. So I'm sure at Shawnee, you are like a fixture. You are so important to those kids, and I'm sure we'd like to carry on your wonderful tradition. So thank you for your years of service to Chippewa Valley Schools. So I have here the resolution read by Board Member Piden, and your bell, your retirement bell, is in the Pacific Ocean on one of those barges waiting to get into the Port of Los Angeles. So it will get here, we know. So thank you again for your years of service.
Hi, everybody. It's amazing. I talk to kids all day long and I'm never nervous. And then standing up here, I'm like super nervous. I just want to say thank you to the board for all your support and the administration in this district, as well as my teaching colleagues, because without them, it's hard to do our job and educate these kids. And I've always felt 100% supported by all of you. And it's just been a blessing in our life. As Sarah said, my husband also works in this district. So we were on one calendar, our kids were on a different calendar, but that was okay. It was better than being on like 3 different calendars. So it's been a ride. I've so enjoyed it, and I look forward to the next adventure. Not quite sure what it is yet, and it's not goodbye. It's just you're here. Thank you.
Price we get Linda. And. with your board members. So we put our teachers together. We stay together. Good. Take your time. Oh, I don't know. So we'll, we have one resolution to read, and then we'll take a short break after that, and then we'll finish retirements, and then the people here who are retiring, take the time to leave if they want to. But just a little time filler here. I just want to mention that it's extremely gratifying to see people who are retiring, who I think we as administrators and board members know, who work as hard today and maybe even harder than when they started. I know these three individuals here, their extreme dedication to their work, their pride in what they do. And sometimes we think that a teacher with more youth brings a certain excitement. And that is so far from the truth when you think about what these people are, they do eliminate. Same thing, I'm just trying to draw a comparison here that we think that people through their careers kind of wean themselves off hard work. And that's just not the case with these people. And we find that so true with so many of our retirees that extremely dedicated to their work and work extremely hard. So I know that you'll all enjoy whatever it is you choose to do in the next chapter of your life. And I don't see it being very still. You'll continue to bring joy to others. So thank you. All right, we have another resolution.
We do. Whereas John Hepp, Lori Kratt, Richard Barney, and Adelaide Fabilli have served the Chippewa Valley School District faithfully and diligently for a period of 24 years as skilled maintenance, 11 years as a teacher, as a counselor, and as a food service helper. Whereas John Hepp, Lori Kratt, Richard Barney, and Adelaide Fabilli, through their leadership, have had a positive impact on staff, students, and the community. Whereas John Hepp, Lori Kratt, Richard Barney, and Adelaide Fabilli, conscientious, loyal, hardworking employees, have elected to retire. And whereas John Hepp, Lori Kratt, Richard Barney, and Adelaide Fabilli will be missed by all their school colleagues. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Chippewa Valley School District, not only on their behalf, but also that of the Superintendent of Schools and the administration, extend their thanks and appreciation for a job well done, as well as best wishes for the future. Be it further resolved that this resolution, having been adopted by the Board of Education of the Chippewa Valley School District on the 18th day of April 2022, be made a permanent part of the records of this school district, and a copy sent to John Huff, Lori Pratt, Richard Varney, and Adelaide Fabilli as an expression of our appreciation.
Thank all the employees who were retired today for, again, their dedication to our community and to our children. A great job they've done for our school district. Wish them all the very best in their retirement. This time, we'll take a few-minute recess. Those folks that have plans to come around, we'll continue on for our meeting. For the folks that care to leave, take a few minutes, let you get on your way. Thank you for coming. See you.
Have a good one. Congratulations. Take care.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Oh, you're so good. Yeah, yeah. They came and fixed my son's. Take care. Have a good night.
Let's see it, sorry.
Yes.
No. Don't tell me what it is. That's all I'm saying. No. No, I think you'll like it. All right, I want to. I want to be surprised. I want to be surprised.
Okay, we're gonna continue on. Next, we'll move to E, all business we have on this evening. Item F, new business. Item F1, approve human resource software license and support. Mr. Summer.
You recommend motions that the Chippewa Valley Schools Board of Education approve Frontline for a 12-month contract for $59,385.66 for software licensing and support for human resource management of employees' time and attendance and professional development.
Motion, please.
So moved.
By Ms. Cleo,
Support.
supported by Ms. Patton. Rationale, please.
The current agreement with Frontline ends this summer. Funding will come from the 2022-23 general fund budget for this purchase. It's about a 5% increase in cost.
Questions or comments by the board? Yes. Mr. Pearl.
I'm not familiar with you. Tell me what you're buying.
So Frontline basically handles the district-wide attendance of the district for all employees. And also we utilize them for a lot of professional development type software.
So every year you have to buy the license. That's been bid out.
It's not, I don't know how many years we've had it. It's been quite a few years. When we went through the process, we looked at quite a few different companies to utilize. We felt this was the best solution for this.
Other questions or comments? All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. F2, approve purchase of food service equipment. Mr. Summer.
Recommended motions that the Chippewa Valley Schools Board of Education approve the vendors below for the purchase of $287,608.28 for the various types of commercial kitchen equipment for 17 buildings.
Motion, please. Moved by Mr. Musek.
I'll support.
Supported by Ms. Cleo. Rationale, please.
Aggressive pricing was obtained through the public bidding process ITB 18.2122. The proposals were reviewed and approved by the food service and purchasing departments. Funding will come from the food service fund for this purchase.
Questions or comments on the board?
I just have a question. So this is replacing equipment that has aged out and is no longer functioning properly.
Did a complete inventory of all our buildings and service equipment. With the pandemic, we received some extra funds that we got to spend. So what we're doing is replacing those things.
This is replacing equipment in all of our buildings.
17, yes.
Okay.
Not all, but almost.
Which building is that?
I don't remember. I'll give you that answer.
Thank you.
When we get the call, you know.
I don't mind that.
Food service funds, Scott, is that they have bond money that's allocated for food service purchases?
So the bond fund does have a budget for food service equipment. If I'm think of what your next question is, will that free up some bond money? Potentially, yes. So a lot of these funds that we're spending on this are what's called federal spend out money. And, if we don't spend it, we lose it. So that's why we're utilizing these funds. And we're going to be losing anyways. Depending on what we do, moving forward with bond fund, might free up some money for that as we're replacing this one.
Yeah, that's excellent. But how we can save that bond money, we're using that spend money. So we can stretch this bond out.
Correct.
As possible. Great. Fantastic. And they run, our food service program runs in the black year after year. Right, and it's a fund, I believe their own, which that's a little tighter, we have to move based on for general. Okay, thank you. Any other questions, comments? All those in favor, state by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. Thank you. And to F3, approved purchase installation of playground mulch. Mr. Sutherland.
The recommended motion that the Chippewa Valley Schools Board of Education approve the low bidder Unique Clips to supply and install playground mulch and the total maximum cost of $67,410. This also allows for 5 annual contract extensions.
Motion.
Motion.
I'll support.
Supported by Ms. Hyden. Rationale, please.
Aggressive pricing was obtained through the public bidding process RFP 21-22. Proposals were reviewed and approved by the facility operations and purchasing offices. Funding will come to the 2022-23 general fund purchase budget for this purchase.
What do you mean by 5-year contract extensions? Are they at fixed rate or at the same rate?
Yes.
Do they remove the mulch, the old mulch?
Typically what you do is you leave the existing and then put on top. So what you're trying to do is create building up the cushion for playground. The existing.
You know what it's actually made of?
I'm gonna assume wood.
Is there a safer mulch nowadays?
Different types. Mats, there are rubber pellet, like. I don't know what's safe or what's not. But this is obviously a real type of product.
The 5-annual contract extensions are our option.
Correct.
Just want to add though that as far as safety goes, there are obviously certain standards that these things have to meet on playgrounds, so this meets those standards. So we've tried some other different types of cushioning surface material in our playgrounds, and this is what works best.
You have control over what kind of mulch. Specifications.
Right. It's a safety problem.
Yeah, because of the density of it. Thank you.
Good questions, Council, for the board. So then, Scott, what so it's $44,000 difference between the two bidders on this cost, right?
Yes. We looked at the two other options, which were deduct 2. We were going to have all 2200s. Of it down here, they were going to start out. That was going to be a little bit cheaper, but as we looked into it, and then the other new requirements for our storm drain, that would create a problem. We did it that way, and then as we talked, it's a little more precise. So, reclips it.
Okay, thank you. Comments? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. F4, approve MSBO bus purchasing program. Mr. Sutherland.
The recommended motions that the Chippewa Valley Schools Board of Education approve the attached resolution to adopt the 2021-2022 MSBO's bus purchase program, and that the reading of the resolution be waived.
By Ms. Quinones, supported by Mr. Pearl. Rationale, please.
By adopting this resolution, the Board of Education indicates its intent to participate in the MSBO purchasing program. School boards are required to approve the resolution, purchase buses from the state.
Questions or comments?
My bus is correct.
Hearing no questions or comments from the board. Those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. About 5, school bus purchase, Mr. Summer.
On the recommended motion of the Chippewa Valley Schools Board of Education approve the purchase of 13 total school buses from Oak Transportation Incorporated and Howell Bus Company as follows. All of it, but we're purchasing 3 89-passenger buses from Holland Bus, 2 89-passenger buses with storage bins, 77-passenger gasoline from Holland Bus. In addition to that, we're purchasing 3 65-passenger school buses. Transportation and 3 additional 77-passenger school buses from transportation. The total purchase for all 13 buses will be $1,554,263.
Motion, please. By Mr. Exec. Support by Ms. Patton, rationale.
The Director of Pupil Transportation has compared the specifications of the offerings from each of the 3 manufacturers represented in the purchasing program. Has made the determination that recommended bus models will best serve the district at this point based upon performance of our latest purchases and other comparative factors. For this notice very different purchase on what we did. Manufacturers, and we looked at very similar size buses. We're trying a lot of different things now because of the environment that we're in. Like larger buses, shortage of bus drivers, get more kids on buses. We're also looking at trying most of our fleets are diesel buses.
Right.
That's 2 gas buses.
Oh, because diesel's so high now.
So we're looking at trying some different buses, seeing how they perform for our next purchase. Change potentially how we purchase those.
Isn't diesel fuel, diesel can be higher than the environment?
A little bit better mileage, but the cost differential
It's
more than offsets that. The other factor that's being involved in is elections that do requirements.
That gonna cause a problem with larger buses.
One of the things that we did was the biggest concern is they fit in their garage.
Well, I was thinking about the kids.
Yeah.
Kids wise, it's roughly 12 extra kids. What we do is in our larger runs, maybe it's the Senate area. Add those 2 extra kids, we'll produce 1 bus from out of there. Right, bus drivers. Trying to.
It's costing more to go around because they're closing off here.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be more road projects.
I guess I just have a comment. I know our transportation director is here, so maybe a little, out of order, but I just want to commend our transportation department because they've done a tremendous job this year, faced with driver shortages and what's going on in other districts where, people have had to go to alternate days of providing bus service. Mr. Williams should be really proud of the job he's done this year.
So the old buses, they go to auction.
Most will go to auction. A couple of them need to be, we applied for a Volkswagen grant budget. Volkswagen grant, in which there are certain older buses, as in 2008 buses, that don't meet certain emission standards. So they write a grant versus 25% of the cost of a new bus. If those buses are destroyed, they can't use them. So got that grant, so many of the buses will be done by auction. A few of them will be destroyed because of that's required.
Was there any kind of CARES Act money that was involved in these purchases? Okay. Any other questions?
I guess facility wise, you said the garages will hold them, but do you have pumps out there for those?
Yes. We have the gasoline for our maintenance vehicles.
There's no other. They're not really building any yet with electric or hybrid.
They do. They have electric buses now. Problem is they're about 400 per bus. Down a little bit. That might be an option in the future.
Well, I'm glad you're buying just some. I've seen some communities buy everything at once.
What's the total number of buses in our fleet?
I believe we have 85. 88
buses. Seeing nothing else, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. F6. F6, approved transportation routing system contract. Mr. Sutherland.
Recommended motion that the Chippewa Valley School Board of Education Transminder for a 3-year contract for an improved GIS map, bus routing, navigation, field trip management, and notification system for a total cost of $155,667. This contract also includes software licenses, upgrades, and hosting services, in addition to data and project management, training, and professional route implementation.
Motion, please. Moved by Ms. Nick,
Support.
moved by Ms. Quino, Commissioner.
Aggressive pricing was obtained through the 1GPA National Cooperative Bid. In accordance with state law and the Board of Education policy for cooperative purchasing number 6440. Cooperative purchasing enables this aggregation of purchases from schools nationwide and joint ventures that maximizes value for each dollar spent. The 1GPA pricing was reviewed and approved by the Transportation and Business Offices. Funding for the initial $85,438 cost will come from the 2022-2023 general fund budget system implementation, and 2023-2025 general fund for ongoing subscription.
Questions, comments by the board?
Scott, how long have we tracked the
So our current system, which is VersaTrans, we've had, I believe, in the district more than 20. We've done wonders with it, and now with all the changes that occurred, we're by hand. For us, and it's with many other software programs. It's kind of
will they come in and implement this? Teach everyone how to operate it? And the parents can log on to the system.
So one of the features of the transponder system is there is a bus route application where put an application on the phone and see where the buses are.
So they'll be given that information. That's different than what they have now.
We use that, the VersaTrans, even with the delay. So just knowing that the bus is on the way, you have to go around. You know, it's a game.
Yeah.
So It's nice to know that.
Yeah, we used to run the bus down, years ago.
The current system, there's a, be some limited delay in those buses. And the other problem is we're constantly switching buses to different routes. Can't help it, it's just not best. But the system is almost instantaneous, and all of those changes are done.
It's the cloud-based system. Thank you.
Questions, council? So we'll just be, provided we vote for this shortly, it will be implemented, how long it will take.
We hope by this fall, but again, it's, the struggle that we're having right now is because of the shortage of drivers. The 5 office people we have in the office, 3 of them are driving every day. So we're at least 2 people in the office answer the phone, handle all of the changes that are going throughout the day. Very difficult. We hope this summer, this company has said that they're going to do a lot of the heavy lifting up front for us, which was a constant in our discussion. And then hopefully this summer we'll have obviously the time.
That is correct.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments? All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Okay, move on to next item G from community. Number slips this evening from our community members. Start off by reading the participation at board meetings. All participation shall be printed as indicated in the order of business. Each statement made by participants shall be limited to 5 minutes duration. Participants shall direct all comments to the board, not to staff or other participants. All statements shall be directed to the presiding officer. No person may address or question board members individually. Complaints against identifiable school personnel may not be expressed in open meeting. Such complaints should first be submitted in writing to the board and they are developed in a closed session according to the wish of the persons involved. Presiding officer may interrupt, warn, or terminate a participant statement. The statement is too lengthy, personally directed, abusive, frivolous, repetitive, obscene, or irrelevant. Request any individual to leave the meeting when the person does not observe reasonable decorum. Request assistance of law enforcement officers, the removal of a disorderly person when that person's conduct interferes with the orderly progress of the meeting. Call for a recess or adjournment to another time when the lack of public decorum so interferes with the orderly conduct of the meeting as to warrant such action. Waive these rules with the approval of the board and necessary for the protection of privacy or the administration of the board's business. Okay. Okay, first up this evening, Mr. Stanley Ship. Should we welcome to the board meeting and please share your comments with the board.
I'm gonna take this since twice by talking with my hands, I almost knocked this thing on the ground. In the past, when I pointed out the computer thing, actually got some recognition and some agreement that let's look into this and fix it. So hopefully, I'm bringing today another issue we can agree is a problem. It's an issue that kind of divides the far left with your average Democrat. So I'm a data nerd. I'm going to give you some data to kind of scope the context here. I don't know if you know, but girls who reject their biological identity and identify as male have a suicide attempt rate of 50.1%. That's not suicide ideation, that is a suicide attempt rate of 50%. Now, the escalating numbers are astonishing. And the UK saw a 930% increase in the number of referrals to gender clinics in the 7-year period. More than a 9-fold increase, less than a decade. In the UK, there's a girls' school where 60% plus of some classrooms of all of the girls are now identifying as boys. In Texas last month, there was a 4th grade teacher bragging, so this is hitting the US too, there was a 4th grade teacher bragging that 20 of her 33 students came out to her as LGBTQIA+. That's not random statistical anomalies. That is the result of extreme abusive indoctrination. And I fear it's happening here or starting to happen here. We're not on the front of the curve on this thing. We're not California, but I worry about what happened at the end of the transgender visibility day. The kids who were directed to go down to room 105 in the email, it said, if you have more questions, go down to room 105. Were they receiving the same kind of indoctrination, I don't know why I couldn't see there, that students in Texas got when 20 out of 33 fourth graders, kids who aren't old enough to have a sex drive are choosing a sexual orientation, kids who are way too young to understand what it means are rejecting their biological gender and falling into a category, making a commitment to go into a category with a suicide rate of over 50% for girls. These things are happening everywhere. And I'm not blaming the people here, but you are in charge of people who I believe are pushing this thing. And we're going to see a suicide epidemic as a result of it. If you do the math on, in the past 2 generations, the rate of transgender identity has increased 9-fold in the US, and it's going up very fast. If you do the math based on the number of students in our district and the 50% suicide attempt rate by girls, you can expect 71 currently enrolled CVS girls to attempt suicide because of this indoctrination. I hope you see that as a big enough problem. So Mr. Roberts said during the student, yeah, you can defend a lot of things in social psychology or in social science.
These need to be addressed to me, please.
You don't have the right to restrict who I address or who I
The
mention.
board carries out, and you are to address, as I just mentioned.
The Constitution does not allow you to prevent me. The Constitution does not allow you to prevent me from speaking what I want to speak.
Constitution says that we have the ability to put rules in place. As a
No,
board of
the
education,
Constitution
excuse me, yes, we do, and I told you that. I've read them to you, and I'm explaining
They
them.
violate the Constitution, and I pointed out to you that a federal judge
To
has
address this
stopped
board of
our
education,
schools.
that's all I said. Is that hard?
Is following the Constitution that hard?
No, I'm trying to. I'm
You're
attempting.
violating the Constitution by telling me what I am allowed to say in a
You
public
can say
forum.
all you want, but you're not. I'm not.
Okay.
You're not. All I'm saying is address the board. That is our rules. That's all, not an employee. That's who makes decisions here. That's who you're trying to persuade. Please continue.
Okay, so. In there's a thing that was adopted by the school by the health board, I forget the name of it, MOSHA. They have a transgender inclusivity toolkit that has been adopted as policy by this school, pushed by the state, adopted by the district as policy. One of the things it says in there is that science teachers, instead of referring to male and female anatomy, should refer to people with penises and people with uteruses. We are telling science teachers that you're not allowed to acknowledge basic biological facts of gender. That's insane. The Bible says in the beginning he created them, male and female, he created them. We stopped letting creation be taught in schools decades ago. And now I think as a trickle down of that, we're no longer allowing male and female to be taught as basic categories of human existence. This is going to have devastating consequences. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Next up is Jennifer Morari. Ms. Moran, please address the board.
Good evening, board. I wanted to take this time to discuss the difficult week that Chippewa Valley High School experienced right before spring break. I want to commend the school and their supportive students with the counseling after the tragic loss of the high school student in that accident. I was shocked also that a student brought a handgun to the school, but I was reassured with the quick police response and the fact that no one was hurt. So I was happy about that. However, like the other gentleman tonight, I am very concerned about the announcements that week that highlighted the support of the March 31st Trans Visibility Day, which encouraged students to wear certain colors in support and offered more instruction on the subject in a particular classroom. Later, the principal admitted that there was some parent pushback on that day, but he considered it not really a big deal and that he was just supporting marginalized students. I agree that all students, no matter their race, religion, or gender identity, should have equal access to a good education and feel that they belong at their school. So to that end, if we can have a Trans Visibility Day, can we have a Christian Visibility Day? Missionaries could be provided to answer any student questions, maybe even a baptismal font could be arranged. I'm pretty sure you would not agree with that proposal, right? Public schools are prohibited from promoting religion by law. Teachers, so to quote, teachers and school administrators, when acting in those capacities, are representatives of the state and in those capacities are themselves prohibited from encouraging or soliciting student religious or anti-religious activity. This is according to a legal resource on religion in public schools. So I think it's pretty clear to administrators that they cannot promote a certain religion or religious observance in the schools due to the concept of the separation of the church and the state. But what about secular views? Wokeism, secularism, or CRT are not traditional religions, but they do have many things in common with religion, including a unique moral code, commandments of social justice, equity, and inclusion, new vocabulary, and maybe sins of oppression or whiteness or discrimination. It is not the school's job to affirm or promote certain lifestyles that can and are likely antithetical to the religious teachings of other students. So in promoting one particular lifestyle, you are causing the Christian, Muslim, or maybe Jewish student to feel that their more orthodox views are unacceptable or even hateful, which is neither affirming nor inclusive. I propose that we put a bigger emphasis on teaching civility. Civility means we understand that people have different views and opinions, and that we can disagree respectfully. That means the LGBTQ student will be treated equally without insult, and that the Christian student with traditional views on marriage or gender will also be treated kindly and not called a hater. Teach kids how to interact with each other if they don't agree. Teach them not to argue with one another, but to learn that they can respect differences. Tolerance must go both ways. As a Christian, I do not insist that you claim Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior in order for me to feel affirmed in my religion by you. Similarly, a trans student does not have the right to insist another person use a particular language or agree that they are another gender in order for them to feel affirmed or accepted in their life choice. We can be supportive of all students without affirming any particular religion or lifestyle. Civility is the only fair option to navigate our students' future. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. So, Mr. Blue Smiles. Smiles, thank you for coming and please share your comments with the board.
Good evening, board, Mr. Chairman. There was an email sent out. April 20th is approaching. And they sent an email out, the sex ed supervisor, who's also a counselor and has a whole host of initials behind her name, about realizing what 420 is and its association with marijuana, and how we as parents and teachers need to come together to realize and to be against the kids partaking in use of marijuana, which I agree with that wholeheartedly, no question there. What I'm a little concerned with, it says here in this email, Michigan's legalization of marijuana is contributing to the normalization of the drug's use. We all know marijuana use is legal in Michigan. So it's saying that it's contributing to the normalization. Now, on that same note, couldn't we say that all of the LGBTQ, all the talk and the hype that's behind this, isn't that doing the same thing? This is something that it's not school. This isn't a school issue. This is an issue for parents and children at home. It's not for the school to decide. It's not for a teacher to decide. It's for parents and children to work out amongst themselves, perhaps with a counselor if needed, but definitely not at a school, in a school setting. Reading, writing, arithmetic. How hard is that? It's very simple. It's basic education, K through 12. It's easy. It should not be this difficult. We should not be dealing with these kinds of issues with the suicide rate Mr. Shipley was talking about. That is crazy. In years past, have we ever had that? I mean, look at the statistics. Look at what it's doing to our kids. But yet you don't hear anybody mention anything about how all this talk of the trans community or anything else is doing anything to the kids. Nothing. But yet, let's come together to keep the kids from smoking pot. Well, I agree, let's keep the kids from smoking pot. But for crying out loud, man, at least realize that the more you put it out there, the more it's gonna be an issue. It's getting out of hand. This email goes on to state, THC in marijuana is a mind-altering chemical that is addictive and creates changes in the developing teen brain. So, if the teen brain is still developing, which science says brains develop until you're about 25 years old-ish, I might be a little wrong, but that's a lot of statistics I've read. If their brain is developing that long, which is their entire high school career, K through 12, their entire school career, if it's developing all that time, how can you say it's okay to make a decision about your sexual gender or identity or anything else when you don't know what you're going to be 10 years from now? But yet they're promoting it and saying it's okay to do that. No, it's not. It's not okay. You don't know where you're going to be 10 years from now. If you have these things in your head, you need to talk with someone and figure it out. Not just say, I identify as this because that's how I feel today. Well, today I feel like a millionaire, but I don't see $1 million in my pocket. Right? Just because I identify as such doesn't mean you have to agree with that. Doesn't mean you have to cater to me. You don't have to. If I say, I'm Lou Miles, I identify as supreme ruler in this room, and you have to address me as such. No, you don't. You can make a choice to say, I don't have to say anything to you. You're nobody to me. That's your choice. We all have these choices. We don't have to cater. I'm not saying cast everybody aside. That's not what I'm saying. But you don't have to put it in a spotlight and make it more of an issue than it really is. It's getting out of hand. It's getting out of control. And like Mr. Shipley says, there's going to be consequences to all this. And who's going to be the one standing there when all this comes crashing down? The parents are going to be the ones that have to pick up all the pieces. Everybody else is going to stand back and wash their hands. I didn't have nothing to do with that. Wasn't me. Must have been the parents not raising their kids right. Passing the buck, just like everything else always happens. Well, I don't think so. We need to do something that needs to be done now. Thank you very much.
Smiles for your comments this evening. So we have Ms. Melody Perry. Thank you for coming. Sure, Councilor.
Thank you for allowing me to come here and speak tonight. I would just like to answer one question that got asked in the meeting tonight. It was about wood chips. I was on a playground committee for creating the playground at the school that I was at and establishing everything, and poured in place was found to be the best thing for playgrounds. It is the most expensive, but it doesn't fly away, and it also makes it more accessible for all students, no matter how they move about. So just a piece of information. So I thank you for that question. I hope all of you had a wonderful Easter with your families. Each time I'm with my family, I continue to be encouraged to come before you regarding CRT. Families with young children and active teens do not always have the luxury of the time to examine and explore all that is happening in the district. Someone must be a spokesperson, and I have felt that is me, as my children continue to encourage me to keep coming, doing it for them and all the other children who are slowly and systematically being indoctrinated without those in charge even realizing that. So I thank you for the opportunity to speak and to be heard. I am really happy that you directed Miss Karen Langland, the curriculum director, to discuss the CRT issues I have continued to present to you that are occurring in your district. My hope is that it will stir you to be proactive, not that it is a reactive board, by providing your staff a policy, email, or directive to not teach CRT concepts in the classrooms. These issues that these parents just spoke to, I was really glad to hear them bring them up just now, because these issues are all part of what is called intersectionality that falls under CRT. So you guys are really doing it. You guys have really brought it to the forefront. But I do want to let you know that Ms. Langland and myself and my husband had a very good long meeting discussing CRT issues and tried to provide clarification for each side as to what is happening and to understand where each is today. We had to end and we'll be completing the discussion at one more meeting. At that time, I hope to bring more information to both the community and you as the board. However, I can share 2 points with you tonight that became very clear in that meeting that I would like you to know. Number one, you have not given any directive, email, or policy to staff and teachers to not be teaching any CRT concepts. So you as a board cannot tell the community that it is not to be taught, that it is not taught, as you have said at 2 board meetings in the past 9 months. Second, you as a board are making those statements regarding CRT based on what staff in your district are telling you without exploring it yourself. We quickly realized and understood during the meeting they don't have a clear understanding of what CRT is. I look forward to the opportunity to return to you with a clear direction that the district plans to implement so parents, staff, and the community will know where the line is drawn and what expectations will be for staff concerning CRT. Your staff want to know where the line is too. They want to know what they can do and what they can't do for their sake. Again, thank you for this opportunity and your willingness to provide some clarity for you in making the best decision. So I will be coming back after that next meeting. This leads me to the second topic that I put down on my paper there I would like to discuss tonight. I would like to commend you on how you recognize staff and students, and it was really demonstrated very clearly tonight. Always encouraging them to continue to do their best, and the thanks for representing our district very well. But that was great to see again tonight, and it was at the last meeting as well. But as board members, I believe you also are elected to represent the parents and students in a variety of areas. It therefore becomes your responsibility, which is a big job, to learn all you can about very difficult topics and not to just depend on a few people to give you the answers and then just rubber stamp it. I believe the last board meeting was a bad example of this. And I was embarrassed as I sat here And I listened to the board berate another member publicly because they didn't rubber stamp and just agree. As the president of the board said, quote, "Get on board with the team. If that is what you are all here for, then why do you even take a vote? It isn't even necessary. Just find out what the team's expectation is and tell us what to vote." For the other board members. You also indicated only one person, quote, "that gets paid an exorbitant amount of money for his job has the right to explore and investigate what is happening in the district," end quote. The rest of you are just expected to get on board and not question what is happening. I wish we could see more of you exploring topics as that board member does and has, and concerns, and bringing them back to the community. I'm sorry to say, I felt like I observed before my eyes at the last board meeting the best public demonstration of bullying. Please review how you handle people who do not agree with you and question that there has to be others, parents, and staff with like-minded thinking to theirs, and perhaps they are representing their concerns. Be willing to consider there are two sides to everything and how we all can come together for the best for everyone involved. Again, I thank you for the opportunity to speak and for the very challenging and difficult job that you all have to do. Thank you.
For comments this evening. All right, next up, Ms. Sandra Herndon. Well, Ms. Herndon, thanks for coming. Please share your comments report.
Good evening. First of all, I'd like to address what happened on April 1st at Chippewa Valley High School. My son is a student at Dakota, but he does go to Chippewa Valley for tech ed classes. And I'd like to publicly thank the Clinton Township Police Department for their unwavering bravery in an extremely fluid and dangerous situation. Not many of us can stand up here, I know I'm one of them, that can tell you the amount of scenarios and the stress and the actual chaos that runs through your body and your mind when you're responding to something so crucial and so critical. I'm here as a mother, not as a police officer, and I would like to thank the Clinton Township Police Department. You guys deserve a lot more credit than what you've been getting. And my family and every other parent in here would really like to thank you for it. After watching the last board meeting, I too was surprised at what I saw. I did not agree with the board member attempting to enter a school during an active lockdown or an active lockdown drill. This only adds to the chaos in a very fluid situation, and it does put other people at risk, whether it's student, staff, or responding officers. Until officers can understand what is going on, they need to be able to determine what the threat is and what the threat isn't. And I would hate to see someone get hurt because at that point they were determined as a threat, when in all actuality, they were there to help. I do understand the intentions of that board member. He is trying to be active within the school board. He is trying to be proactive to all the parents that email that want that added security for their children so we don't become another Oxford, we don't become another Sandy Hook. And I know another police officer does not want to see bloody, dead, dismembered bodies from bullets on floors. And while I understand his proactive approach to observe and report to these concerned parents, I also implore that he go through the proper channels to report to parents with our safety concerns. I would like to thank you for addressing those concerns to that board member, but I implore you to do it in a proactive manner. You have shown that having children in this district does matter as a board member. As for this board censoring you and changing bylaws, I do not agree with that. To that board member, I welcome to you to my world of cancel culture with this board. If this board is going to start changing bylaws and start censuring board members, maybe you should start with those members that contact parent employers. Defaming hardworking parents, creating false narratives and telling lies. These actions truly show that this board lacks true ethics and accountability and good members of parents, or I'm sorry, good parents trying to do what's best for their children and teach good morals have fallen to the wayside. I implore this district, if you're gonna do anything for these children, do not single out one board member because he's acting for those parents that have emailed with their concerns. He is taking my concern and making it legitimate. He's trying to make a difference, especially when it comes to the safety of my children. I know there were reports that this particular board member had made threats to other board members. Well, I can tell you, there's a wonderful thing called a FOIA request. I sent a FOIA request not only to the school district, but the cities that the board members live in. That would be Clinton Township and the Macomb County Sheriff's Department. And I can tell you, I'm happy to report, there was no such report ever made to the school district that anyone that's sitting here received any threats from anyone else, not even a parent. Not in one single city. So why does this board continue to push false narratives? Why do board members continue to go in public and say that they're being threatened? And I'm sure you can agree, being previous law enforcement, that if it wasn't written, it never happened. You want to change bylaws? How about we start changing bylaws where board members have to be in good moral standing, honest in thought and deed. Thank you.
Sorry for your comments this evening. Next up, lastly, Ms. Monica Rick. I'm sorry, thank you for coming. Please share your comments.
Thank you. I wanted to discuss a few things tonight. First, I wanted to say that I'm so happy that volunteers are back and that students have been able to participate in fun school events again. I was able to help out at the book fair, attend a PTO meeting inside the school, and help set up the daddy-daughter dance. My son has a field trip planned to the zoo next month, and he's so excited about it. I love that I can finally talk about some positive things. Next, I have a few topics that I'm going to discuss, and I know that my questions will not be answered now, but it would be great to hear some answers during the board discussion. So I'm just wondering if the organizations such as Boy Scouts can use the schools again to host their meeting. This was discussed during the last board meeting. I have sent a few emails to Mr. Roberts about this topic. This is my son's first year in Boy Scouts, and I know that it has been a struggle for this organization to find places to host a meeting. I have hosted meetings at my house to help with this struggle. Last week, I sent an email inquiring about the district's reproductive health information on Chippewa's website. I saw that the information for this had not been updated in over a year. Once I sent my email, the information was updated the next day. My question is about the health advisory board meetings. The next meeting is May 3rd. I'm just wondering how the district sends out information to inform the parents, because the email I got back said that not many parents attend this meeting. I also wanted to know why these meetings are not recorded like the board meetings. Is there a way for these meetings to be recorded? My next question is about curriculum. The Florida Department of Education rejected more than 50 math textbooks for next year's curriculum, citing references to critical race theory and other reasons for the rejections. At Chippewa Valley, does the board have to approve curriculum? If not, who does? If the board does approve curriculum, do you actually take the time to look through the textbooks and materials? At the past few board meetings, we have been hearing that there is a substitute shortage. I think that I may know why Chippewa has a hard time finding subs. It's because you do not pay substitutes enough. The information I'm about to share with you can be found right on the EduStaff website. Chippewa Valley is one of the lowest paying districts for substitutes. Here's a list of the districts and how much they pay. This pay is for certified teachers. Fraser, $150. Mount Clemens, $150. Lakeview, $150. Warren Con, $140. Richmond, $125. Southlake, 120. Lakeshore, 120. Anchor Bay, 120. Armada, 120. Romeo, 115. Huron Academy, 115. Utica, 100. Lance Cruz, 100. Centerline, 100. New Haven, 95. Van Dyke, 92. East Point, 90. Chippewa, 90. Why is a district like Chippewa Valley at the bottom of the list? What can this district do to raise the sub-pay? And lastly, what can the district do to speed up the process for FOIAs? I sent a FOIA in on March 24th, and I actually just got it back after sending an email today after I received a letter asking for an extended time. So, and my FOIA was denied, so I will be appealing that. But I just want, these are my requests, and I'm looking forward to hearing your responses. Thank you.
Thank you. Go for your comments this evening. We are about community portion of the meeting. Okay, next up is H, Union Communications. Is there any union leadership that I'd like to speak this evening? None. Looking on to item I, administration reports. Mr. Roberts.
There are no administration reports nor curriculum updates this evening.
Moving on to K, other than by board members.
The interview for the Dakota Athletic, so we normally have a board member on that committee. Isn't it usually if it's a high profile position, then we have a board member? Is there one?
I don't think at this time there are, but the board would like to serve on that. We can place support on that.
I would like to, if nobody else does. But
Council board.
I'm sorry. I just want to say that the Boy Scouts was, yeah, I can't remember the information. I know it was.
There are some things that we're asked to see that will communicate with people and give them.
Okay.
The Boy Scouts issue was resolved. Communications that go out and to some people, and we'll correct that.
For the but all right, just so I just wanted to say I'm going to be missing our next meeting on May 3rd. So it's going to be so kind to thank this president very much. Okay, we'll move on to executive session. Sorry, take that out. Executive session. These two expulsion hearings. Have a motion to go to executive session. Ms. Spivey, supported by Mr. Earl. Roll call vote, Ms. Spivey.
Myself, yes. Mr. Earl.
Yes.
Ms. Aquino.
Yes.
Mr. President.
Yes.
Ms. Basic.
Yes.
Myself, motion carries, and we are going into executive session in case.
We're going into 8:45. Going into the executive session, we have 2 executive sessions this evening, and then we will come out and then adjourn in public. Okay, we're live. Resolution to expulsion of students 04/18/2022 CBH /01. The Board of Education conducted a hearing on April 18th, 2022 in a closed session concerning the administration's recommended expulsion of student 04/18/2022 CBH /01. The student's parents had been advised on the charges against the student right and had been advised of their due process rights. The student was provided with all due process rights required by the law and district policy. The board has considered all the evidence presented at the hearing and based on the evidence has reached the following conclusion. Student 04/18/2022 CBH /01 was guilty of section 4.17 possession of a weapon and State of Michigan Revised School Code section 380.1311A(2). Therefore, it is resolved that student 04/18/2022 CBHS 01 be permanently expelled from the Chippewa Valley School District. Student 04/18/2022 CBHS 01 is prohibited from entering any premise owned, operated, or controlled by the district or attending any district function. I make that motion. Support. Mr. Pearl. Roll call vote, Ms. Spivey, please.
Mr. Bednar.
Yes.
Mr. Pearl.
Yes.
Ms. Aquino.
Yes.
Ms. Wiesak.
Yes.
Myself, yes. Eyes off.
Thank you. This is here. At 9:14.
What does he charge? Possession of a firearm.
It's terrorist charge.
Well, I'm sorry.
Charged
What
against
is
the
the
man.
charge? Where would he be charged with?
We started with CCW, RNC stolen property, the gun was stolen, gun, and then, possession of a dangerous weapon on school property.
The what?
Possession of a dangerous weapon on school
Right, so
property.
it's not terrorism, because you need that, right, that's
Correct.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, moving back. The next item.
There was your
Yeah, there's one other executive session we're going to.
So moved to a second section.
Yeah. Executive session, need a motion to move into executive session. 8B, to consider student discipline. A motion, please. By Ms. Spider. For Ms. Reno, all, roll call vote, please, Ms. Spider.
Myself, yes. Ms. Aquino. Mr. Bednar.
Yes.
Ms. Wiesak.
Yes.
Mr. Pearl.
Yes.
Eyes off. We're going into executive session at 9:16.
We're good.
Okay, we're backing up the session. We are going to amend the agenda and we're going to change the executive session 8B to consider student discipline. We're going to change to 8H to consider material exempt under state law as protected student information. So I need a motion for that.
support.
By Ms. Pearl, supported by Ms. Packard. Roll call vote.
Mr. Pearl.
Yes.
Myself, yes. Ms. Aquino.
Just one more question. What was that called? Student what? What was age?
To consider material exempt under state law as protected student information. 8H.
Okay, yes. Mr. Bednar.
Yes.
Ms. Wiesak.
Yes.
Eyes off. Motion carries.
Okay. Move to change item M, executive session 8B, to consider student discipline, to item M, executive session 8H, to consider mutual consent under state law as protected student information. Have a motion.
So moved.
By Ms. Biden. Supported by Ms. Exec. Roll call.
Myself, yes. Ms. Exec?
Yes.
Ms. Aquino? Yes. Mr. Bednar?
Yes.
Mr. Pearl?
Yes.
I was also motion carries.
At this point, we will go to item M, executive session 8H, to consider material except for state law as protected student information at 9:27.
Yes, they did.
Guys, I'm 70, guys.
Back on the session.
She's unmuted.
At 10:56. And we need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. So moved.
By Ms. Biden, supported by Ms. Pearl. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed. Meeting is adjourned at 10:57.
Oh, okay.
So